evening, everyone, and welcome to Live to Be Well. I am your host, Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time to tune in for tonight's broadcast. You know, this entire month, we have been dealing with mental health, but it's not just the month of May, it's every day of our lives. And being a clinician, I deal with this every day with my families, my clients, my patients. I see it in my church. Mental health is on the news. Mental health issues on the job. Mental health issues are everywhere, from the schoolhouse to the White House. There are mental health issues that need to be addressed. So tonight we wanted to talk to you about the mental health issues. How do you see yourself? Where is your personal value on your self-worth? Is self-worth the same as self-esteem? Well, I want to define that for you. You know, what are you saying to yourself about yourself? You know, how often do we ask that question? You know, Kim, do you like yourself? Kim, how do you feel about yourself? Kim, do you see yourself, or where do you see yourself and your self-worth in the next 2 years, 5 years, short term, long term? Do you love yourself? Well, the Bible says very clearly in Matthew 22:39, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So the question is, how do I love you when I don't love myself? How can I even say I love you when I don't have self-worth? Well, let's go to some of the definitions of self-worth, and then we're going to read some of your comments. Let a friend know. Let someone know that Live to Be Well is on. Share it on your page. Let someone know that these programs are here for hope and healing. My daughter and I, we started this during the pandemic. And even though with CDC, a lot of things have ended, but we are still in a pandemic. It is still amongst us. And so we are still bringing you wonderful programs to help you with your hope and healing. So let's talk some real talk here. All right. If you've heard the term self-worth, you're probably wondering what exactly it means and why it's important. According to the American Psychological Association, your self-worth is your evaluation of yourself. Your evaluation of yourself as a capable and valuable human being deserving of consideration and respect. Deserving of consideration and respect, okay? So four components that define the esteem you might feel for yourself. Self-confidence. Do we have self-confidence? And do we project that? Identity. Do you understand your identity? Are you proud of your identity, or are you ashamed of that identity? Feeling of belonging. Do you feel a part of a collective body? Do you have a family that you're a part of, or are you all alone? Are you an only child and you have no siblings? Your parents are deceased. So you're out here alone, but you're never alone. When we have God, we're never alone, and God will connect us with the right people if we're open to that. And we'll talk about that. And feelings of competence. Feelings of competence. So number one, self-confidence, identity, feeling of belonging, and feeling of competence. All right. 3 qualities of self-esteem. Now, they're very close in definition, but a lot of times you hear people talk about self-esteem, how I feel esteemed, but you don't hear them talking about self-worth. Now, we know that people with high self-esteem appreciate themselves and other people, okay? Enjoy growing as a person and finding fulfillment and meaning in their lives. Are able to dig deep within themselves and be creative, make their own decisions and conform to what others tell them to be, and do only when they agree. So my question is, do I have self-esteem? Do I, go along to get along? Because I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to cause conflict. Or am I going to really evaluate and assess my own self-worth? So it's very important that we look at that. So how can I improve my self-esteem, my self-worth? Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Try to see the positive in your life. Build a support network. I cannot tell you how important that is. Try talking and therapy. Get a therapist or a counselor. Set yourself for a challenge. Set a challenge for yourself and look after yourself. We have to take care of ourselves. That's why it's so important that we incorporate healthy exercise, eating a balanced meal, small meals or 3 meals a day or small 6 meals a day. That we do the things that we need to do. We need to rest, get plenty of sunshine. We need water in our bodies. So if I have self-worth, I'm going to take care of the temple of God. But a lot of people are struggling with self-worth. And the question is, why am I struggling? Well, I want to bring in my co-host, ML6, and we're going to look at it from her perspective and her age group. And then we're going to talk about it from what I've seen. Hello, beautiful.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Sometimes I forget that she's my child, and such a professional. Hello, Miss D, all the way from Florida. Good evening. Good evening, Miss Tanya, Lady D. Good evening. So happy to have you all join us. Please give a question. What's going on, Foxy Brown? Good evening. We love you. I was talking about you earlier, Miss Foxy Brown, to Micha ML6. So if you have a question, feel free to send it in. Amen. Be kind to yourself. Ooh, that meal looks good. I'll be kind to myself. That's a good meal. Hello, Brother Micha. God bless you. So good to have so many people on the line. We have a great, following of people, Micha, who enjoy this. Okay, Micha, God impressed you. I called you last night. I said, we need a topic, and this is the first thing that you sent me. And I was like, oh, no. And for a moment, I had forgotten Mental Health Month and how important this was. And then about 2 or 3 o'clock this morning, as always, God says, this is what I want you to talk about. So I'm sending Micha, texts early in the morning, and Brother Al, this is it, So Micha, why this topic that was impressed for you to talk about that? What are you saying to yourself about yourself? Tell me what was going on in your mind and why.
Oh, it was the first thing that came to my head.
Right.
Some things just aren't that deep. Like, that's why when you kept asking me over and over, I was just like, I'm not changing my mind. It was just
I did keep asking you over and over again.
I'm the type of person, if you ask me something, I'll tell you directly and I stand on it, and I'm not going back and forth with anybody. I'll just say, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
That's opinion about something. I give you an answer. If you don't like it, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
All
right.
I say all that to say it all goes apart with what are you saying about yourself? What are you saying to yourself about yourself? Is because that's one of the things. Oftentimes, we are, as people, we can be so easily influenced by other things, and we can have an idea in your mind and you can be very clear about it. And then somebody can come in and they can try and twist it and turn it. And it could be a good idea and it could be something great, but you're just like, this is where I'm at and I'm not changing for anything. And you really have to have a good mindset and you have to be confident in yourself. For so long, so many people, even now, people, when they look at me and, I still have my bald head and I still don't have any eyebrows and I still don't have any eyelashes. And when I tell you I am perfectly okay with that, and that's because, one, I know what I went through to not have these things. I'd rather not have these things than have a tumor growing in me or be dead. And one of the major things, and I can be very, very transparent about this, my dad affirmed me. My dad affirmed me early on in my cancer journey that my little milk dud head would be okay. And that you have to have people in your life. This is just so important to have people in your life that see past your present, that really see past your present, and then will get you to a point where you see it too. Because there are times where you can not see your future. You cannot see what's going on, but God really will talk to the people around you to help affirm you and give you self-esteem in that regard. I can say, Mom, when I was younger, my complexion, what was I, like 5 or 6? And I remember we were at an event and Kim Fields was there, and I had just had an incident with some young ladies at church, and I was just sad. And it was just this whole thing. And I remember Kim Fields pulled me aside and she got me all the way together as a young child. And from that moment on, I don't think I had any, like, going through high school, and you can tell me if I did, but going through fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, I never really had any type of issue, like in terms of like being like about my skin tone, about who I was. Like I was very confident, and a lot of that came with I had a good family that really loved on me, and the women in my family were very about like they were strong, they were very confident, no matter what, and even if they weren't confident, I didn't know it. I didn't see that, and I think all of that plays. I think personally, I have been very blessed to have been raised in an environment where affirming each other was very important, whether it was in education, whether it was with God. We weren't really caught up on looks, but mommy, grandma, you gonna dress right, you gonna have on that slip, you gonna have on that undershirt, you gonna have on those matching underwear, you gonna have on those white socks. I remember we used to have fresh white socks and then patent leather shoes, and if they had scrapes and scuffs on them, I had to get the alcohol and all the stuff and get them off. But I say that the outward was great, but the inward was had to be even better in order for the outward to really shine. And I can say, growing up, that I didn't have a lot of self-esteem issues. I was looking at a picture of myself from college, and I just kept staring at this picture of myself from college, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl, you wouldn't even think. But I didn't have no problems getting boyfriends or getting guys to like me or just being me. Just being me, my natural self. I had my nails done all the time. That was probably the most that I ever really did was my nails was my thing. But and my hair was always done. I had to have fresh braids. But everything else, I was just me. My tomboy self. If I would got in I love I've always been this girl right here with the sneakers.
Yes, yes, then.
I was raised around boys. So I was the little girl with my older cousins. But even with that, having that in itself, a lot of it played a part with who I was around. Ask yourself, who are you around? And I've said this before in a broadcast, who are your top 5 people? The top 5 people that you talk to on a regular basis, are those people adding value to your life? Are you adding value to theirs? And if they're not, you need to rearrange your top 5. You need to rearrange the favorites in your phone. You need to rearrange the top 5 people that you send Instagram posts to or DMs to, because those people are the people that you talk to the most. I get up in the morning and on my wall, I have a prayer module, and then I have a list of things that I say to myself. I am a good communicator. I am a good listener. I am going to have this, that, and the third. I am going to be successful. I am going to live out my dreams. As simple as I am going to have my own place. Everything that I want, that I am is very strong. Every time I go into my bathroom, and I take a lot of showers, so every time I go into the bathroom, I look on the side, and while I'm brushing my teeth, I say, I am. Faith over fear. I do have more faith than I have fear. Those are things that I say in my phone. I have notes in my phone that I refer to. When I go to sleep at night, I go to sleep listening to one of 2 things, either sleep sounds or words of affirmation. So that when I wake up, I'm waking up listening to words of affirmation. These are just personal things for me that keep me uplifted. Let me tell you, it's a lot in this world, Mom. It's a lot of messed up things in this world. And society will have your head completely messed up. The society will have you completely messed up. Social media. Let me tell you something. Filters are not real life. Photoshop will have a lot of people out here thinking that, oh my goodness, look at her. Photoshop is a real thing. Photoshop will have you like a whole new person. So while you're sitting here looking at somebody, real talk, while you're sitting here looking at somebody and like, oh, look at her shape, look at this, look at that, ma'am, sir, that's not how that person looks. They have a very good editor.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
good editor. And so these are just things. So what are you saying to yourself about yourself every day? Because let me tell you something. The more you say positive things about yourself, the harder it will be for somebody else to tell you negative things about yourself.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on. All right. Jack, come
You
on. Come on.
able to filter through what is truth and what is not. And if you are running around here not really affirming yourself, I'm not talking, I don't need to. It's great that my mother affirms me. It's great that I have amazing friends that affirm me. It's great that all these things. But if I can't affirm myself, what's the point?
Yes. Yes.
You have to be able and put yourself in a position. I say on my radio show at least once a week. Have you told yourself today, I love me?
That's right. That's
Is
right.
it? How is it possible for us to want love from everybody else, but you walking around hating yourself? And it's not about being cocky or I'm gonna be cocky about the love I have for myself. I love me. Am I perfect? No, I'm not.
No.
But I am beautifully and wonderfully made in God's image. And every single day, I'm striving to be the best person that I can be. And for that, I love me.
All right. All right. All right. You know what, Phyllis Taylor, Micha, you are naturally, beautifully, wonderfully, and fearfully made. Thank you, Auntie Phyllis. We appreciate you. Everyone that's joining us, we appreciate you. We're going to go to your comments now. Oh, Tanya, you are beyond blessed to have women pour into you. Most of the women in my life have very toxic lives, personally leaving no room to pour into me. Your family of excellence blessed my life. Micha, Sister Tanya drove all the way to Huntsville. She surprised me for Mom's memorial. And she said, I had to see the people that Dr. Kim come from. Where did she come from? Who birthed her? Who are the people in her lives that have made me? And Micha, you are right. And Tanya saw, and she stayed for the repast, got on the road and went back. But she wanted to see. She met Daddy. Daddy interviewed her. Tanya, I don't know if you knew this or not, but you were the last person that my husband interviewed for 3ABN. You were the last one. He said, I want to interview her because I have been working with her. So so this is where we are. So I want to go to reading some of the comments. Can we read some of the comments? Okay, I'll read the comments. And I appreciate all of you, your comments. We're talking about self-worth, being poured into you and loving yourself. Okay, your thoughts. Why do some people struggle with self-worth? All right, let's read your comments, okay? Lester Jones, when you compare yourself to others, you overlook what makes you unique. You are right, Lester. Lester and I grew up in Burns Seventh-day Adventist Church. And Lester was a very quiet, unique person. And, he was very smart, always been very smart and intelligent. And so when you compare, but he never got caught up in cliques. He never got caught up in what people thought of him. He was his own person. And I appreciate to this day, Lester, who you are. Melanie, all the way from California, my girl, because others are constantly putting them down, shutting them down. If it's constant, soon you begin to feel like you are not worth anything to anyone. That's where I am at, sad but true. Okay, wow, Melanie, I'm always here for you anytime. Nia Lewis, looking for validation. Good word, Nia, from others, but that's surrounded by various reasons. How they grew up may have been a victim of bullying, victims of some type of abuse, maybe even mental health issues. Never had I had a support system from those they love, also within my household growing up. Low self-esteem, simply no self-love. It goes on and on. My heart and prayers go out to them all. Micha, why don't you read Brenda? Brenda, you're on mute, Micha.
Because they compare themselves to other people instead of embracing and focusing on what God has installed in them, and also measuring themselves by the world's standard instead of God's standards.
Yes, you got to stand on God's standard. All right, Teresa, my girl, I agree with Anika. Self-worth must be taught in the home by parents. It doesn't mean that you are better than anyone, but it certainly dies when that no one is better than it. That certainly does when that no one is better than you. Look in the mirror and live what you see, and life will change. Excellent, Teresa. That is good. Thomas Micah, read what Thomas says. Micah.
It's because people always are putting someone else down when they have nothing going on for themselves. Different people have done that to me. So that's why I say to myself most of the time. And you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. I was on Instagram and it was a post. It was a Kim Kardashian had put up a post about basically, why she and Kanye weren't together. And she was like, you can't change anybody. And people were just attacking her, like attacking her. And I was like, every single day, people really get up to just get on social media and attack someone else. Like, you can say anything. You can say the sky is blue, and someone will be like, no, it's not. I mean, it's not that blue. Why do you think it's blue? It's not like it's just a lot of negativity that make people. So Thomas, I totally get it. Why you say to yourself most of the time because it's so negative in this world right now. Like it literally it's almost like the normal, but I refuse to make it normal in my life.
Yeah.
Like I can't make it normal in my life. Sometimes I don't read the comments and things because it's just like to really see how people really think the way they think or that it's clickbait, whatever it is, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna blame somebody else for somebody else having a mental breakdown. Like that's that person. If they don't want to see that and handle that and be that, I'm not blaming Kim for that. She did everything she could. I wasn't in their household. We're only privy to what we're privy to. We're not
Yes.
privy to their lives 24/7. And it's really easy for us to examine other people's lives, their highlight reels, and even sometimes their shortcomings. But let somebody try to do that to us. We're ready to say, respect my privacy. You don't know me. You can't judge me. Woo wah. But then people get on the internet all day and do it to people that they've never met and they're not even in the same tax bracket.
Right. And then you're looking at someone who these young people are looking at all this and say, why am I not doing this? Why I'm not in this position in my life? Why am I not here? Now I remember Micah 43 years ago starting the business. You were right there as a little girl. And people said, you really going to leave Christian counseling in your name and on your, I told them put Christian counseling. Take Kim Logan down and put if there's only certain words that could fit in there. I wanted Christian.
Right.
And they said, your business is not going to last a year. 43 years later, Christian counseling, because I validated what God told me to do, my own self worth. I believed in what the positive of what it could produce. And then I got rid of all the negativity. You've got to let go of people and things. This is why you cannot, and no offense, Micah, you have to limit your news intake. I know there are people who wake up watching the news, and I'm like, before you turn that on, sit with your Bible. Everybody has their own time and way for worship. And some people say, well, I need to know what's going on in the world. I like to work out with, my news and the stock market. That's not for me. I've got to do my Bible study. I need my prayer time. I need my private time with God so that he will order my steps, not channel 2, 4, and 7, not CNN and MSB and whatever. I want to be connected to God. And so a lot of that negativity, there was a shooting in Texas. There was a shooting in Michigan. There was four young men last week went into a concrete boulder and died. That's too much for me to handle first thing in the morning,
I
So
tell people time, even with me working in media, I take breaks. I
yeah,
take
yeah,
mental because it's just too much. There
it
are
is.
days where I won't log on. There have been months where I have not watched CNN. I used to be addicted to watching CNN, and then I had to free myself of it. MSNBC, like I used to just do it. And for the last, I think, 2.5 years, I've literally freed myself from a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to stay informed because of my job and my career. So I do what I need to do, but I used to get so consumed with it. And I had to remove myself from that because it's a lot. It really is a lot. And for me and my personal mental health, that I have to, because I am such an empath, I will take it on, then I'll research, and then I'll start trying to find the families, and then I'll start trying, it just becomes this thing. And I just say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not doing that today.
Right.
I'm chill. I'm going to read my word. I'm doing this thing where I'm doing 365 with reading the Bible in a year. So it
Yeah.
makes me literally, and some days I miss, but I catch up. But
Yeah.
it's for me to, like, I'm intentionally being in my word every single day. That
Every
I'm
day.
some form of word every single day. Whether I start my day with it, end my day with it, I could be driving from downtown LA to Woodland Hills, but I plug in and I listen to the Bible when I'm driving. Some part of my day, this is just something that I'm committed to for this year, of me intentionally getting word every day. That's a part of me really exemplifying my self worth, and just really being tapped in and tuned in to, what does the Lord say? What does the Lord say as I go throughout my day? Not what does society say, not what does the news say, not what the shade room says, not what any of these other things say. What does God say?
You
Or
know,
my, because here's the thing. So oftentimes we forget that God speaks to us.
yes, he does.
Sometimes it's like God is like, hey, I've given you the tools. Like oftentimes people are like, oh my God, I need to pray about, I need to pray about, I'm waiting for God to send me an answer. And God sent back like, baby, I gave you that answer 2 weeks ago. Were you not tapped in? Because I told you. I really did tell you. And so just being tapped in to what God has to say, as much as I can. Do I miss the mark? For sure.
For
I
sure.
do.
We all do. We all do.
I
We
try
all
my
do.
best to stay as tapped in as possible. So going back to what you said, even I, working in media and entertainment, I have to take breaks because it's a lot. And I'm just not into social media and the world telling me about me. Everybody has something to say about Black women, about everything. And I'm like, I don't need y'all to tell me about me. But here's the thing, they can do that because there's so many people out here who have no idea who they are. So they're searching for other people to tell them.
Yeah.
And this is what you are. Oh, you did this, da da da. So this is who you are. Like, no, that's not them. That's who you think they are.
Right.
And they're gonna accept it because they don't know who they are.
Right. I remember one time I spoke for camp meeting, and this woman truly shut me down. She said, "You are very arrogant. You are very you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth." I said, "What are you talking about?" You know. And so this all came from an incident at camp meeting when I was talking to the young people. I was doing my thing. You know how we did, Micah, but it was no parents allowed. She said, "Well, my daughter is very transparent." I said, "But you've got 150 other students in this camp meeting." But anyway, when I spoke for the Wednesday night prayer service and I told my entire story, she came outside and she stood by the car and she cried and she apologized and she said, because I don't know what to say. And I said, it's just simply, you don't know my story. You didn't know my story, but I shared it tonight. So I didn't get here with a silver spoon. A little girl born on the east side, Johnson's Projects, to Scripps Elementary, to Hilger Elementary, to Thomas Elementary, to Grisel Junior High School, to Northeastern High School, to Adelphian Academy, to Wayne County Community College, to Oakwood University, to Wayne State, to Connecticut State College, back to Wayne State. You don't know my story and how I had to push hard to get and build Kim Logan Communication. So all people see is the end. They don't know the journey, and they don't, hello, Tisa. So I've had to learn, I'm not going to let people define me, even when I'm doing therapy. And my patients and clients can attest to this. I do not tell them what they need to do. I listen. And the one thing I learned from Daddy, when Daddy was observing me one day, he said, you can only give suggestions.
That's it.
That's it.
Only give suggestions.
You can only give people advice and suggestions up to them and pray for them. Let them pray about it. But they, at the end of the day, they will make the decision. All right, let's go back to the comments. I was just telling someone today, no matter what, so people just want to be negative. It's so heartbreaking. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Sister Moore. All right. Kimmy Jean, hello, darling. God bless you. And congratulations to your daughter
I
getting
also,
your role.
a lot of times people can only see as far as their personal reality. And so they judge things based off of that, based off of their circumstances and their situation on what they've seen in the world. Okay. So I oftentimes give grace to people because I'm like, okay, this may be the only circumstance and situation and the only viewpoint that they
Right.
have, that they have. And so you give grace to that. Here's the thing, they can say what they want to say, but I don't necessarily have to accept it. There could be somebody on here right now that's not accepting what we're saying because they can't see it because of their personal viewpoint.
Right.
And hear me when I say this, it's okay. All we're here to do is to give a suggestion on we want you to be your best self. With living to be well, it includes it really surrounds in you being your best self
That's
in its
right.
totality, especially in regards to how God and what God wants for you in your life.
That's it.
Here and so with your self-worth,
Yes.
it, we are already at a disadvantage because society tells us as Black people we're less than. We already have these stereotypes about us. We have a stereotype that we're bad tippers, that we are lazy, that we are ignorant, that we are all of these things. And here's the thing, that doesn't apply to me. Where
Mm-hmm.
it does not apply, I have no problems letting it fly.
That's it. Did you even say that again, Micah? Say that again.
Where it does not apply, I have no problems letting it fly.
Let it
I'm
go.
not offended by anything that anyone says to me that has nothing to do with me. So if somebody says, "Oh, Black people are bad tippers," but you're not talking to me. You're not talking to me.
Come on, come on.
If someone says that, "Oh, all Black women do is da 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 da," yeah, I don't that doesn't resonate with me. It's called I'm not carrying anything that doesn't belong to me.
Come
Now
on.
I can own who I am. I can own my idiosyncrasies. I can own all the things. I'm at a point in my life where I can be very honest about who I am. I can be very honest about when I'm wrong. I am not a Black woman that's not afraid to apologize. If I do something wrong, I will apologize. I have no problems owning up to where I have made a mistake or where my thoughts are. I have no problem saying, hey, I have no idea about this or that. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. I have no problems doing it. I don't have an ego that will have me put in a situation to make me feel like I'm better than anybody. I am learning. I like to say that every day and everything is a teachable moment. My grandmother used to say, if you're not learning something new every day, the day has been a waste.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Would ask me, what did you learn today?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be about yourself, about the world, about your job. Ask yourself, what did I learn today?
Yeah.
It could be as something as I learned today at the grocery store. I really don't like when people are close to me in the line.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like when they use paper bag. It could be something as simple as that. You're learning something about yourself, a particular about yourself.
Yes, yes.
Being aware of who you are and being honest. I'm tired of people not being honest about who they are, showing these false representations of themselves. And then when the real them comes out, it's this big shock. Please don't shock me. Don't shock me.
Okay.
Be who you are.
Be who you are.
Who you are so that I can be authentic in how I approach you because I'm approaching the authentic you.
Yes.
I don't feel like, well, I was being me, but this wasn't the real you. And then it's an even bigger problem.
Right.
Be who you are. That way you're being fair. And I can say whether or not I want you in my space or not.
You
Please
know,
stay with me.
that happened to me with a dear Kimmy Jean. Thank you. That's so true. I was not in a good place with my grief, and I was not being authentic with this particular person. Once I dealt with my problem, I was able to go back to this person and apologize. so that they can understand. And all I could do was do that. If they could not accept it, nothing I can do. But I had to release that for myself. Let's finish out these comments. Let's finish out the comments. Everyone was so kind enough to send us the comments. All right, Ayana Gardner. Many times, starting with you, self-worth is attached to intelligence, smarts, and not progressive success. All right, Ms. Gardner. Mm-hmm. When a person is abused, even emotionally, it can trigger responses of failure or not being good enough. Right. Always being compared. It's so difficult when you're compared to a sibling or to this person or that person. All right, Micah, Kathy Boyle. Because they do not recognize that self-worth does not mean being egotistical or self-centered. That's right. It means loving yourself as God loves you with all your faults. That's right, Kathy. God did not we're not perfect. So you have to accept the fact that you and I are not perfect. And again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Today, take in what's good and what's not, discard it. All right, Micah, take Karen. Hello, Karen.
Okay, thank you. It's because they believe they're not worthy unless others validate them. They see self-worth as something that's determined by others, like family, friends, significant others, colleagues, and situations. Many believe lots of material things define their self-worth too. You are enough. You are worthy and valuable all by yourself. It starts with you and comes from within. No one knows better than you. Nothing or anyone outside of you can determine your self-worth. If you allow that, your life will always be dictated by situations and people outside of you. Like a reed in the wind, you'll be a victim of their moods and opinions. Be mindful. They are their own life. They're on their own life journey too. You never give the keys to your house to someone who doesn't live there. When you let others define your worth, when they think about you runs the show. It's called giving away your power. No one's opinion is more important than your own. In this day and age, we know the cost of everything and value nothing. Self-worth starts with you. You don't have to look outside of yourself for what God has already given you. Your self-worth starts with you. When you believe it, you'll see it.
Come on, Karen. Come on. Yes, that's it. Everything that Karen said sums up the entire show. Mm-hmm. But I like the fact you never give the keys to your house to someone who doesn't live there. You have a visitor, I understand, or my brother Kurt was in town, but I know them.
But even if you have a visitor, they have to abide by your rules.
You got to abide by your rules. Was that our last comment?
If you don't, you have one or two options. You can tell them they can go, but you for sure can make sure they never come back.
They never come back. All right. Tanya, my value was diminished when I started by being groomed for rape by the first predator. Unfortunately, I carried that dysfunction well into adulthood. I was taught no matter what happened to love those who hurt me because that's what God requires in order to be saved. Forgiving, loving, and tolerating is not the same. Dr. Beverly Robinson, congratulations. Tanya, your response is the ferocity of truth. And I wholeheartedly understand and I agree with you. Thank you. And Dr. Beverly, we're so proud of you earning your PhD and also telling your story, what you went through. Micha, Geneva.
Lack of good parenting during childhood, adolescence leaves individuals looking for love and self-worth through others. I say this all the time. Broken children make broken adults.
Yes. And hurt people hurt people.
But here's the thing. Healed people heal people.
Come on now. Did you just finish it out?
So often we hold on to that hurt people, but heal people too.
Heal people. Yes, they can.
Healing of others. And this is when grace comes in. This is when you have to give, and grace doesn't necessarily come by being in someone's face all the time. Grace comes from giving them the space to be who they authentically are and for them to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I am not going to put myself in a position. This is me. I'm no longer going to put myself in a position. I cannot fix anyone. That is not my job. Mm-hmm. My job is to do all that I can do. And once that is exhausted, I have turned it over to God. You know what, God? That's your child. You got it. Mm-hmm. I have done everything that I have been called to do that you've told me to do. Now it's up to you. This is where I am in my life with my friends, with family, whomever. I am at peace.
Mhm.
I'm at peace.
Mhm.
My peace is
Mhm.
my first priority.
Mhm.
But a lot of that came from because of my self worth and my self value, that I'm not going to let anybody come into my home, which is me, my mind, body, and soul, and disturb anything that they have the power. Like, I'm not giving anybody that power. I'm not giving anyone that power. I'm going to give you enough grace to love you and let you do you and be you.
Mhm.
I promise you that in itself will
Mhm.
save a lot more relationships than you continuously trying to force people to see life how you see it. Here's the thing, my eyesight isn't the same as my mom's eyesight. I
That's
can't wear my mom's glasses, and
mhm.
she can't wear mine.
Mhm.
My mom was raised in a different time period. She was raised in a different home. There may be similarities in terms of how she was raised that she took into her household. There'll
Mhm.
be some things that she didn't take. There'll be some things that she added on. There'll be some things that I'll take into my home, and if I choose to have a family, that I'll take and leave. Nobody is the same.
That's
Everybody is different.
that's
I'm
right.
in a place in my life to understand and respect the fact that people are different. All I'm required to do is to be the best version of myself. All I'm required to do is show up for Micah every single day. I can't commit to show up for anybody else unless I have had the capacity to show up for myself. And be honest, when I can't, I don't have it in me today.
Mhm.
Not in me today. I can't do it
I can't do it today. I
today.
know
And be okay with telling people. And if people in your life can't handle that truth, they're not your people.
they're not the people that you need in your life.
Your
I
people.
had oral surgery yesterday, and it was very painful. I'm still in some pain, but it had to be done. They would tell me, "Mom, you got to go ahead and get this done. You know, you're on camera, you are constantly speaking, you people are, but Mom, your own self worth, how you see." So I took a good look one day, and I just looked at my mouth. I said, "I'm not satisfied." And Micah said, "This is what we need to do and talk about this." And so I called her at the dentist's office yesterday, and I let her see all the work they were doing, and I love it. They pulled 4 teeth out. I'm so proud, and I have veneers now. And nothing wrong with veneers. They're costly, but they're beautiful. Okay, but I don't have the broken teeth anymore. They're not loose, and I have some more work to be done. And this is what Live to Be Well is about with Micah and I, being transparent. And I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ and what he is doing for me. And how many times did Micah suggest, "You've got to get this done. You need to get this done. Mom, I took a look at you, and you were speaking. Mom, you need to get that closed up and that closed up." We are aging. Our body is changing. My self-worth is not dictated by trying to be 21. I am not 21. My teeth are changing. I've got to do some adjusting, you know, and with the chemo and the radiation, I lost bone structure. My teeth got weak. And then I fell, and one of my teeth were knocked out loose. And I'm just like, this is something that's happened. That's right. Put that camera on me. I'm so proud. I can give a full smile. It's just wonderful. And I'm still in a little pain, but God is merciful. So my self-worth is important. It is so important to have close friends and family who will speak truth in your love. And my daughter speaks real truth in my life. She really does, and my baby girl. And but I've got other people in my life too. Those 5 women that you hear me talk about, my prayer partners, they speak real truth into me. And I tell you, I have good deacons in my church who will give me that. All right, let's finish out our last 2 comments.
Say something really quick. It's not about, and I don't want anyone to take anything what my mom said the wrong way. It's not about the vanity of a thing.
It is not. No, it's not.
The other thing. It is okay to look good. I'm tired of believers feeling like you got to look crusty and dusty.
Come on.
As a believer, You are supposed to be your best. You are supposed to look your best.
That's right.
Moisturize that skin. Go get that facial. Go get that manicure. Go get that pedicure. Go get your hair done. If you don't like something, it's okay to fix it. You don't have to answer or explain it to anybody else.
That's right.
Stop walking around here feeling like because you're a Christian and you're a believer, whatever your denomination is, that
Come
you're
on now.
walking around here looking like what? Look your best. Get you some Vaseline, scrub your lips, get you some hair clippers, get the nose hairs, get the ear hairs out, moisturize, get you some nice smelling like cologne, perfume. Go get you a nice outfit. You don't gotta spend a lot of money, okay? You can look good. And if you don't, I promise you, reach out to somebody. Say, you know what? I'm not the best in fashion. This is kind of my style. Can you like give me some suggestions? Somebody that you trust. Have somebody come over, go through your closet. I had a very close friend of mine asked me to come over, just go through her closet because she just wanted to spruce up her life. I went through her closet and I said, okay, we're gonna get rid of this, we're gonna get rid of this, we're gonna get rid of this, we're gonna keep this, we're gonna keep this. Let's put some money aside so we can get this and we can get this. And I literally watched my girl come to life. Come to life. Be excited about going out with her husband. Be excited about going out with her homegirls. Like it is okay. I'm so tired of believers feeling like you gotta walk around. Go to the dentist. Stop walking around here with your breath smelling like garlic. That's not what's up. I should not know what you had for dinner. Like I shouldn't know.
Right.
Like
And people, and let me say this, Micah, and people who have insurance, they don't use the insurance.
use it.
They don't
Go
use
get a scraper for your tongue. If you can't go to the dentist, I understand you may not have dentist. There's so many things out there and so many tools on
Right.
Amazon that you can get to
Yes.
make sure that you can take care of you. Start taking care of yourself. Changing your diet. Changing your diet.
Yes,
Okay.
that's-
And more than anything, just drink some water.
Drink plenty of water. Drink some water. Drink some water.
Baby bottles. Okay, I can't.
But Micah,
Drink.
but you know what?
Yeah.
I
And
drink a gallon.
all of this is a part of your change your linen. You don't know what, let me tell you something.
Oh,
There's
come on. Talk about this.
so much freedom in changing and washing your linen and ain't nothing like getting into your bed with fresh sheets. Do you know what that does for a person?
Yes.
Your clothes.
But wait a minute, changing your towel on a regular basis. What? Changing, if you can. I know everybody can, but every day you should change your washcloth and your towel every day. You should change it.
Self-care is a ministry. Thank you. Self-care
It's
is
a ministry. God,
ministry.
beautiful.
I do not want you standing in front of me, leading praise and worship, telling me all these things, and it's just like you're not taking care of yourself, baby. What are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
That's hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy. You
Don't
know.
do it. So again, all of these things are about. It's not about vanity. It's about just taking care of yourself, showing up as your best self. And if you don't know how to do it, ask for help. I promise you, it's somebody in your church, it's somebody at your job, it's
Oh, that's
something. I'd rather have them listen. And if you know they're talking about you, say, hey, I know you're talking about me. You want to help me? Would you mind helping me?
That's right.
Can you help me?
Can you help me?
They either say yes or no. Say, because if you're not going to help, don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Right. Don't say anything. Now, ML6 got to leave the air, but I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. But I do want to finish out the question because a few things I want to say to close out, but we're going to let her go because she's got to take care of some business and she's on.
I have a mental health event that's here in LA that I.
Oh, all right. You want to a mental health event. All right. Okay, Catherine, go ahead and read Catherine's. Okay.
Because people are assigned and the church said, go sit down. Shh, don't say what you saw. Self-worth, my eyes, my brain, my heart. Thank God he covers and heals and wins and helps those abused recover all that was lost. Exactly. Yeah. And I would love for people in the church, again, to have grace for victims.
Yeah.
To have grace for victims.
Okay.
Stop judging what you don't know. Stop judging what you don't know.
Okay. Melissa Hicks, because even when you are nice and loyal to people, when you are out of their presence and talk about everything you told them in secret. And then because of that betrayal, you find it hard to trust your question your self-worth, especially when you know people aren't genuine with you like you are with them. Asking God to gel me with this right now. You've got to ask God to put the right people in your circle. Be very careful who you let into your space. Everyone cannot come into your space. You can love them at a distance. Melanie, you always ask, you always seek to do good for others, only be told or shown you've done nothing when you've given all of yourself to help. Again, Melanie, like Mike and I said, you can only give suggestions. Do you do the best version of you and let God do the rest. All right, Micah, Pamela Mitchell.
From experience, usually childhood trauma or abuse. Again, broken children make broken adults.
Yes. All right, Reed Brandon.
Most humans begin only pretend to love and care about their fellow human beings. The reality is that humans are genuinely selfish and unkind to others. They only treat people well who they are receiving something from, and that's beneficial to them.
Mercy, mercy.
It's a very selfish mindset. It's
It is. It is. That's a good point, Brandon. Nicole, okay. The things that happened to them, definitely, past experience, okay. Micah.
usually stems from abuse or some sort of trauma. Had to add one more. They believe the lies of the enemy, of course, because the enemy will creep in and tell you lies about yourself for sure.
All right. In its woods, some feel like failures are underachievers if they aren't financially well off or not becoming what and how society often defines being successful, or how they think that they are perceived. If they knowingly haven't fully recovered from tragedy, failure, mistakes, poor decisions, or disappointments in their lives, then there are some that are more concerned and measured themselves by how people see them rather than how God sees them. Going back again, Mr. Woods, what we said earlier, very good points. Tony from Atlanta.
Because they don't understand Second Corinthians chapters 3 and 4. No one has told them that God has placed his glory inside of each and every one of us.
That's it, Tony. Love, that love must be put inside of each of us. Lane Moore from failure and degrading rotten people. Bonnie Carroll, unresolved trauma, past experience therapy. All right. And Bobby Lee said, I second that. Erica, wasn't instilled in them as a child. And Anton Lewis, yep. All right. Micah Norma.
We started out from oppression. We started that from the get-go, taking over the values of the oppressors, not having authenticity. It takes Jesus to give us our value, and that takes time. Yep.
All right. And read Brandon's response to Norma, Micah.
Our oppressors and colonizers use Jesus' name to rationalize their yes. Although I'm a believer and follower of Christ myself, I love to see us rely on a balance of our faith and also use practical earthly solutions. Exactly. A lot of times, and I will say this, a lot of times people have used the church, Jesus, their own interpretation, and a lot of it is false. It's like this false reality. That ain't it. And it's a horrible, horrible trend in the church community. I'll say this, and take it as you will. You really have to take time for yourself, with yourself, by yourself, with God.
Mm-hmm.
Completely honest. I'm talking about, like I said earlier, everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. Be honest with yourself, and then allow God, as he's taking those layers off, allow him to replenish and make it new and make it cool. That way when people come into your life, they can't tell you nothing because you've already sat with the Father. He's already shown you. He's already shown you. Allow God to show you from the inside out. Start taking care of yourselves. Start telling yourselves, I am loved. I am worthy. I am patient. I am kind. I am all the things that you want to be. That I am is strong. That I am is strong. Say it over yourself as much as you need to and watch God work. Watch God work.
Michael, we should do a part 2 next week, or you might be out of town, I'm not sure. but I am that I am. You know, when Moses asked God, who shall I say sent me? You tell them I am that I am. And that's the bottom line. Just real quickly, the Bible actually has many passages that tell us what God has said. And Micha said it earlier in Psalms 139, 13 through 16, says, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and all the days of our lives were written in God's book before we were even born, confirming God's prior knowledge and the plans for our lives. Ephesians 1:4 says, God chose his children before the foundation of the earth were even formed. Ephesians 1:13 and 14, we're told we are God's own possessions, chosen for the praise of his glory, and that we have an inheritance in heaven with him as his children. But notice the wording in each of the above phrases are fearfully and wonderfully made, were written. God chose his children. We are God's own possessions, and we have an inheritance. These phrases all have one thing in common. They are things done to us or for us by God. These are not things we have done for ourselves, nor have we earned or deserved them. We are, in fact, merely the recipients of all spiritual blessings in heavenly places. Therefore, we can conclude that our worth is not really of the self at all, rather it is worth given to us by God. Let me tell you something. You have to look at your life unmeasurable. I have a sermon, and I'm putting it in a book form, Unmeasurable Favor from God, unmeasurable favor. And that's the way you have to see yourself. That's the way you have to understand yourself, that you are God's possession and you have an inheritance, a joint heir to your big brother, Jesus Christ. Micha, closing remarks before we close out with prayer.
Start telling yourself positive things about yourself, and please give yourself grace and give others grace. And if you're not going to allow it into your home, don't allow it into your soul.
That's powerful. I am so happy to have been the mother. I am the mother. Thanks to Dr. Kim, I took a second look at myself on my journey. You are welcome, Ms. D. I'm so proud of what my children are becoming. I have to allow them to find their path, but I'm going to be here to give suggestions, to give support, no matter, and whatever I have to do to stand by them and continue to be that strong female force and voice in their lives. We pray that you've enjoyed this segment. We're going to come back with part 2 of financial freedom, and we're coming back with I Am That I Am on self-worth. So continue to stay tuned, let others know, and thank you for all your comments. Woo! You make Live to Be Well what it is. Micha, Logan, ML6, I love you. L. Rogers, love you. Love you, Miss D. Love you, Thomas. Love you, Miss Tanya Dykes. Love you. You know, you guys, let me tell you something. Colleen, listen, great presentation. I want to know where that food came from in your profile picture. So we love you and God bless you. And remember, what do we say, ML6 at the end? Live to be well. Good night and God bless. Love on yourself. Love on yourself. Good night. God bless.